So what happened in the last 48 hours in the market? What sort of collapse was it? As big as 87, but then it bounced back, didn't it? Good to see it bounce back, but your KiwiSaver funds, man, they're quick to move those down, aren't they? Eh? Slow to come up and quick to go down. Sam Stubbs is with Simplicity, a New Zealand a KiwiSaver fund manager, and a good one too, and he's doing good things. Sam, g'day, mate. Nice to have you on.
Yeah, g'day, Duncan. G'day, mate.
How would you describe that market collapse in the past 48 hours, but also the bounce back? Is it something? Is there a warning in this for us?
Yeah. Look, it's pretty normal, Duncan. I mean, about every 2 years we have a drop like this. So, I don't worry about it. I've seen it 20 times, but I can understand that if you've got a KiwiSaver account with a lot of money, you might be. But I don't think there was anything particularly unusual about this. The markets have gone up a lot. You know, like we're basically back to where we were 3 months ago, right? We had a huge run up, and then we've had a correction. So you can expect this to happen about every couple of years, and about every 6 or 7 years, the market goes down by more than 25%. And then people get really scared. But over the long term, these things go up, markets go up. So I would not be making any decisions based on what I saw yesterday. And in fact, if anything, you've got, as you just mentioned, you've got an interest rate environment where interest rates are going to start coming down around the world. That should be good for financial markets, should be good for KiwiSaver accounts, and it should be very good for businesses because people will have more disposable income that we spend less on the mortgage. You'll have more to spend in cafes and businesses. So, basically hang on. What's the phrase everyone's using now, Duncan? Survive till 25? Something like that, yes.
Yeah, survive till 25. It was 24.
I hear you. But I think we're going to be getting into a macro environment, in terms of interest rates where they're coming down, and things will start to feel better.
Yeah, I reckon you're right too. Look, even with the weather becomes warmer, you got spring in about a few weeks' time, and then the housing market might just start to warm up again because interest rates are coming down despite Adrian Orr. I mean, God, is he the slowest guy in New Zealand? And I was speaking to a couple of CEOs yesterday, off record, and they were really critical, really critical.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look. I'm a little bit more comfortable with what they've done because look, here's the worst thing they can do, Duncan. We're saying they can do is drop interest rates too quickly. If they drop it too quickly, inflation comes back. They have to go through this very painful cycle again. So what Adrian Orr's been tasked to do is to really hit the inflation nut on the head hard. Knock it down for a long time so that things can improve. So I think this is going to start to happen. I like you, Duncan. The last 6 weeks, I've noticed a distinct change in tone out there. We meet a lot of businesses. We see, a lot of economic activity in our business. The last 6 weeks, I've noticed things start to feel just a little bit better. I think we may have just turned. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Anything could happen, right? But I think we're about to get into an environment now where there may be more good news than bad news out there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, unemployment might pop up a bit because it's retrospective, so we'll see that in the next couple of days just edge up, but probably not anywhere past 5%. And remember 4% used to be brilliant. Remember 4% was almost deemed. Helen Clark once told me it was zero. There was zero unemployment, really.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I think, it's very, very easy to diss central banks and politicians around the world. I actually think they've done a quite remarkable job of actually getting, managing through COVID, which is tough. Getting inflation got away a bit there because they spent too much money. They've managed to calm down inflation. They've managed to keep employment high along the way. You're absolutely right. I remember when I left school, the unemployment rate was 16%. Like it was dire. It was tragic out there. So I think we can moan about it, but actually, when you look back, what we've just been through in the last 5 years has been incredible, and I think we've managed it globally pretty incredibly, including here as well. I know it's tough. I know if you're running a business, it's incredibly tough right now, but boy, have we been through a lot. And I think we're about to see interest rates trending down now. Things will start to feel a bit better, as you're saying.
But even as we say that, I wonder if too many people had it too good for too long, because people got, and they should teach this in the schools, but, interest rates suddenly went up to 6-7%, and everyone goes, ooh, that's so high. I was paying 9.99 in May 2007. So, I don't recall the coverage being like this.
Yeah, I run this competition when I go in presentations around the country, try and find the highest mortgage rate that anyone's ever paid. And it actually, the highest rate I've heard is not 19%. There was a time when at first, when you buy your first home, you're paying 9% on. So people forget. And of course, the great thing that's happened really in the last 30 years in terms of the global economy and here is we've really got interest rates under control, right? Because inflation just kills an economy. It really is the worst possible enemy. I know things feel tough right now, but if there was a lot of inflation on top, like a lot of inflation, it would feel a whole lot more worse. Unemployment would be way higher. We would be in really desperate stakes. We aren't there now. I know it's very, very difficult if you're a struggling business to actually think that there's some good news there, or that the good news is just around the corner. But I think, from my side, I think we've done a pretty remarkable job, globally.
It's an interesting perspective.
Environment.
No, and I think that's right. I think it's right. I think that's right, largely right, because there will always be collateral damage, right? So there's always going to be dead bodies, and the collateral damage, I think, right now, are some of these public-facing shops, the retail shops. They have overheads, especially the ones in the malls and things. They have these fixed overheads, and the money is just not coming through the door. You go and look at the sales; they're everywhere, Sam.
No. I know. Well, in fact, I was going through my local mall just recently, and every single shop had a sale on it. So it's really, really tough, and it's sort of scant comfort to say, listen, it would be a whole lot worse if inflation was a whole lot higher. It really would. But right now, I think what's happened is globally around the world, central banks and governments have fundamentally got inflation under control now. It seems to be trending down. So things should be improving because interest rates should come down. And Duncan, there's a huge multiplier in this, right? Remember that, if your mortgage rate doubles, all of your discretionary income just goes, right? You can't spend it on anything. But if your mortgage rate halves, then suddenly you actually have more money. Now, you should spend most of that on paying off the mortgage, but there'll always be extra money for shops and cafes and all that sort of thing as well. So, yeah. Bear in mind also, Duncan, what's happening, the really long-term trend here is people are saving in KiwiSaver. That money's getting reinvested into the economy. That's not so immediately obvious, but I can see it from my seat. That ultimately brings longer-term growth. We will have a very good next 30 years in New Zealand overall. There'll be ups and downs, but basically we're now saving money, reinvesting it into the economy. We're not using it to buy, other houses or rental houses. We're actually putting it into real businesses. That will ultimately be really good for us. That's why Australia is so much richer than New Zealand, not because of iron.
Of course it is. Yeah, that's right. And they're flat, and they've got better access to things. But in terms of that, do you think that that New Zealanders will change their behaviour as a result of this, or do you think that the short memories sort of syndrome kicks in and they're back on the credit cards at Christmas? And back buying houses again. I don't know if they will learn a lesson, but for how long though, Sam?
Yeah, it's tough, and of course you've got the whole finance industry that wants you to borrow money, right? Wants you to take out that credit card, and you've got, everyone wants you to spend your money on anything other than paying down the debt, right? So that they might not. Although, I often think consumers are smarter than people think they are, Duncan. I think people are generally smarter, and I think that once they go through something like this, they'll be a little bit more reticent about taking out massive mortgages when the interest rates are low again. Well, at least I hope they will be. Bear in mind also, Duncan, that 20 years ago, 80% of New Zealanders own their own house. Now only about 60% of people own their own house. That means 40% of people are paying rent. That means they don't actually get into a massive amount of debt in the way that we used to in the past. So there are actually fewer people affected by interest rates than we might think in this case. And so so.
And also with an ageing population, you've got people with money, and the people with money have got money in the bank, and high interest rates are a probably a good thing for them because they get a good return. So the picture needs to be balanced as well, doesn't it?